Shennong, one of the three emperors to first rule China around 2800 BCE, was quite an herbalist. He tasted 365 species of medicinal plants and discovered that tea acts as an antidote against the poisonous effects of some 70 herbs. Throughout most of China's 83 dynasties, tea and tea ceremonies have been an indispensable part of traditional Chinese culture. So, what does poison tea have to do with a 5,000-year-old culture, you may wonder? Well, Chinese tea is not poisonous, of course, but the propaganda, lies, and deception that the Chinese Communist Party has been serving to the rest of the world for over 70 years is deadly poisonous. To put this into perspective, we need to go a little more deeply into Chinese history. China was once known as Shenzhou, the land of the divine, a land where divine beings and mortals once coexisted. Out of respect and reverence for the divine, it was natural for people at all levels of society to practice self-refinement, tolerance, and maintaining a high moral standard. However, in 1949, when the Chinese Communist Party seized power in China, everything changed. In order to hold on to that power, the party began the systematic destruction of traditional Chinese culture. It launched several brutal campaigns, most notably the Cultural Revolution from 1966 to 1976, to replace traditional Chinese culture and spirituality with the party culture, which is based on atheism, violence, and struggling against heaven, earth, and fellow humans. An estimated 80 million people died of unnatural causes as a result of these brutal movements. All this devastation runs completely counter to those thousands of years of kindness, faithfulness, and righteousness cultivated in Chinese history. We are now in the 21st century, but that doesn't mean the party's goals have changed. The Chinese Communist regime continues to systematically destroy traditional Chinese culture and spirituality, as well as the entire world's culture and spirituality. The CCP is yet another political entity trying to subjugate the entire world, never seeming to learn from history that humans do not control the fate of this planet. COVID-19 originated in China toward the end of 2019. In its early stages, the coronavirus was knowingly allowed to spread outside of China. For the past 2+ years, the CCP has taken advantage of this pandemic, in a not-so-subtle way, to increase the spread of socialism and communism globally. But the world tide is showing signs of turning against the poisonous duplicity of the CCP. For example, Brian Braze, one of the organizers of the People's Convoy of trucks and vehicles driving across the U.S. in protest of COVID-19 restrictions and mandates, said, quote, "You can't stand up to a government that wants to violate your constitutional rights, and you should. At this point, this is your civic duty to stand up. It is the civic duty of all Americans, of all citizens of the world, to stand up." Expanding on this point, we can say that it's more important than ever for every person in the world to stand up for freedom and the innate goodness of all life. Is the world presently engaged in a showdown between good and evil, as many people believe? That's for everyone to decide on their own. But are you doing your homework and looking beyond fake news to discover what's actually happening to our global society? While getting to the roots of this evil is very important, I feel that it's paramount to choose good over evil in your minds and hearts. Go deep into your innermost self and you will find that the heavens are indeed watching over all of us. And remember, there is no poison tea allowed in heaven.